Hey guys, welcome to this lecture. So now we will see the DOS protection. So zone protection, we have applied it, at a broader level. Now, when we talk about the DOS protection, it will be applied on a granular level. So you can apply it to protect a particular source, particular destination, or particular source and destination, right? So there are two ways of doing it. One way is aggregate, another way is, classified. So in aggregate, the traffic flow matching that particular profile will be protected, and in classified, you can protect the particular resource. I mean, source, destination, source and destination both, right? So this is less CPU extensive. So let's have a look. I mean, if you go to objects, here it will give you the functionality to create the protect security profile, right? Right here you can see DOS protection. You can click on add, right? And you can give it a name DOS. So DOS stands for denial of service, prod profile, and type aggregate and classified. So first we will go with the aggregate, and here you have SYN flood, UDP flood, ICMP flood, right? So we will configure the SYN flood, and thresholds are going to be like 10, 10, maximum 40, and then block duration for how much second you would like to block that particular IP address. So in our case, let's do the block for like 100 seconds. Similarly for UDP flood, 10, 10, 40, and let's make it 100 seconds. And not 100 seconds, let's make it 60 seconds. Right? We don't want to keep waiting for long. Then ICMP flood, and that's it. Then we have resource protection. If you want to protect your maximum concurrent sessions, so you can have that protection in place. So how many concurrent sessions you would like to allow for a from a given machine source IP address. So you need to be extra cautious when proxy setup is deployed in your network, because mostly connections are getting proxied and firewall will see only one IP address. So just take care of that, right, when you're configuring this policy. So let's say we just need to allow 100 sessions in our environment, right? So we have created this, and just disable the zone protection, because otherwise zone protection will be activated. So let me remove zone protection. So just make it none. Okay. And now go to policies and just go to DOS protection. So you need to just create a rule and give it a name, add. So DOS protection rule. Your source, so traffic coming from untrust, source address any, destination, traffic going towards the trust, and it will be hitting my web server. So web server IP address, right? And in service you can define, so which particular service, or you can keep it any, right? And what else do we have? So in our case, we have just open up the port 80 service, right? Rest of the services are already denied on that particular IP address. So let's keep it HTTP, because otherwise, the security rule will deny the traffic and it will overshoot the data plane CPU, because ports are not open. And action is going to be deny, allow, protect, right? So let's keep it deny. Then if you want to schedule this rule, you can do that, log forwarding. And if you want to aggregate, so we have this aggregate profile, so let's call it out. And if you have classified, then you need to define the classified policy, which we don't have as of today, right? So let's go with aggregate first. So we have configured this profile. Let's do the commit, and I will also take the console access of this Linux server. We will, uh, take the Wireshark captures to see how we protect our resource. I mean, you can do one thing in your environment, you can just simply initiate the attack, turn on the Wireshark capture on your destination machine, and then you will be able to see, how many packets this machine is receiving. Okay, so let me run Wireshark. So with the help of the mitigation strategies, we can control the packet flow and we can protect our destination server. So start the packet capture, right? And if I will hit traffic here, so you should be able to see that, right? Traffic coming in from this particular IP address, right? So this is the normal flow. Now, once this uh, profile will be implemented, we will have a look how the traffic is received by our destination server. So whether the DOS protection is taking place or not, right? Similarly, if you run that command show counter global filter delta yes, so at present you can see there is no DOS counter increasing, right? So at present there is no attack ongoing. Okay, so let's wait for this deployment to complete and then we will initiate the attack. So it is almost done, 99%, almost done. And we will also see the hit count here, right? So let's do one thing, let's initiate the attack from our Kali Linux. So only TCP port 80 is open, so I'm going to initiate the attack on port 80, right? So okay, this is the attack on port 80. So let's do this and let's verify the logs. So we can see packets not matched DOS policy, updated aggregate buckets for aging. Denied by policy, packets not matched DOS policy, packets aggregate buckets. So our policy is not taking hit, although it is able to, identify that attack is going on, but our policy is not taking hit. And if you take the server access, so we can see that we are receiving too many SYN packets, and we are continuously doing the retransmissions. You can see we are receiving so many SYN packets. And if I will go to monitor and in threat logs, so we are not detecting any particular attack. If I go to dashboard, so you can see we have session count. And if I go to session browser, I will be able to see the session. So port AD, right? So session from untrust toward DMZ. So why our policy is not taking hit? Because our server is inside the DMZ zone, right? And we have created policy for untrust to trust. So that was the mistake we made. Although it is good, I mean, you are able to see that our destination server is receiving the attack in huge volume, right? Now let's correct this. So destination is going to be the DMZ. So that was the reason hit counts were not coming and we were not able to detect it. And see the beauty, when you run this command counter, this was able to identify that some sort of DOS attack is happening, right? But there is no rule match. Packets not matched DOS policy, right? So when you do advanced troubleshooting, so firewall is letting you know that there is some sort of attack going on, but we don't have rule in place to protect your resources. So if you go to monitor and if you go to traffic logs, you will be able to see that continuously, someone is trying to establish the connection on port AD, right? And it is getting dropped because of that India region rule. But if IPs are coming from India, okay, let me just do one thing. From Kali Linux, let me remove this, random source. So what is going to happen now? It will pick the IP address of this Kali Linux, right? And now your destination server will receive more attacks, right? It will receive more attacks now. So if you go to firewall and if you refresh, threat logs, because random source was making it kind of DDoS, distributed denial of service, because random packets were coming. And I think our DOS policy is almost implemented, so which is cool. So if you run this command again, so again we are getting this packet not matched DOS policy. And if we go to policies, so we need to check are we getting hit counts or not. So zero hit count, right? So let me just stop the attack and let me see what IP address we have inside this 172.16.1.2. This is the IP. Okay, so like you remember in one of the previous lecture, I told you that whenever you are creating rules, you need to take care this in your mind that you need to always keep pre-NAT IPs and post-NAT zones, you know. So that is the reason it was not taking hit. So always keep pre-NAT IPs and post-NAT zones in your rules, be it security, DOS protection, authentication, decryption, whatever rule you are configuring. So this is the basic thumb rule in Palo Alto firewalls, that pre-NAT IPs and post-NAT zones. So now if you see, and I'm initiating the attacks. So my server is flooded with the packets, right? So I think this is not working properly. Packets transmitted, but if I see the IP addresses on the firewall, I think it is still generating the random source IPs only. Yeah, it is still generating if you see the timestamp. No, source is now this, but it is getting dropped. Policy deny interzone default. Okay, the reason being that this 10.10 is not allowed in this particular rule, right? We have that Indian region. So 10.1.1.252 is not allowed to open up this website. In fact, you can check it out here. If I try visiting this, website, so this will not open up. Reason being that that is not allowed in the rule. Okay, so that's the reason it was getting blocked due to rule. So let's do one thing, remove this Indian region for time being, okay, and do commit. So now we will be able to flood the destination server. So, with help of granular settings, this is how you can, prevent the attacks. I mean, I have just included India region, and you're able to see that I was able to drop down the, unwanted traffic towards my resource without any mitigation strategy as well. But, in production environment, you cannot limit your web access to only a particular region. But yeah, there are certain websites which are very critical. Let's say if I talk about Indian government websites, so they are more related to Indian citizens, right? So we can put restrictions. And similarly, if you visit Ukraine websites, so if you are coming from Russia, you won't be able to open up those websites. The federal websites are blocked, right? So majorly government websites, critical resources, they only provide access to their citizens. So in that case, we can have geolocation based rules configured. So now we have DOS policy and we have removed this. So we will be able to do the lab recreate in a more effective way, and we will see whether our rule is still taking hit or not, right? So let me just do one thing. Let me initiate the attack again. First of all, let's try to see if we are able to open up this web page. If we are able to open up the website, then we can launch the attack on that. If that website is not reachable to you, then there is no sense of launching attack. You are just wasting your resources. So the connection has timed out. So the rule is still applying. And if I go to monitor now, so we can filter out the traffic from the IP address. You can just apply the filter source IPs 10.1.1252. So it was getting blocked. And if I will try now, refresh, if you go to session browser, you will be able to see the current sessions. So being static IP, I don't think it is making connection. Let's go to private window and try to hit that IP address again. And let's see. So now, trust to untrust. We're not getting logs. This is strange. We're not able to establish any session. It is timing out. So if I go to traffic, commit is successful. So the entire traffic is getting blocked. This should not be the case. Interzone rule is taking hit. And if I will try to access this website, it is not working for me as well. Let's find out the reason. Packet smash DOS policy, right? So I think we have kept the thresholds too low, and it is also blocking the legitimate traffic. And if you go to threat logs, so let's have a look. So If I go to policy, if I go to DOS protection, so the rule has started taking hit now. We can see it is matching the policy. You can see hit counts. But somehow the website has become unreachable to me as well. So if I will check the security policy, so we have this web server, and if I will open it up, untrust source any, right? Destination, good. Application any, service any, action is allow, profiles are configured, okay. Rule looks good to me. I mean, there should not be any problem. We can do one thing. I mean, we can just disable this protection for once, just to isolate the problem. This might be possible that, we have kept the threshold values very low, due to which, the traffic is getting blocked, because even I'm not able to reach it. And if I will check the logs for my IP address, so let's remove this. Actually, I want destination IP to be, just a minute. So I want destination address to be 10.1.1.3. So we have old logs only. So why my request is also getting blocked? This is strange. So DNS, I will reinitiate the traffic. Okay, so now the connection has been established, you can see, and we were able to see the website. So I think our rule has taken hit. I mean that that rule has been disabled, so it has started working. Similarly, you can revisit this website from Kali Linux. Now you can see, right? And might be due to low threshold value. It was blocking the legitimate traffic as well. And this was I was telling you before. Let's try to initiate the attack now. And if I will try to initiate the attack, let's have a look what happens. So you can see we have started receiving sin, right? So our destination server has been flooded. And if you go and check out the logs, so if you see your session count 500, 600, right, it will overshoot. And if you go to monitor, if you see the traffic logs, because now we don't have any policy deny. So traffic is not getting blocked at security rule level, right? It is allowed. And once it is allowed, then this machine can exploit this server. Right now you can see it is getting allowed from that particular web server access. Initially, half of the traffic was getting dropped because of the security rules, and that was the reason your data plane CPU was shooting up. Now you can see the session count. It is going beyond 700. It will also increase, right? And if I see, I mean, you can see here the destination server, how many packets we are receiving. Similarly, if you check the counters, so you will be able to see, how many packets you are receiving, what is the rate, right? And if packets matching the DOS policy or not. So, right. So you can see now we have disabled the DOS policy, so nothing is happening, but the packet rate is very high. 800 packets per second we are receiving. And if you refresh here, and if you go to Linux server, you will be able to see how many packets are received by this server. So there is no mitigation strategy defined here. In fact, your policy is also very loose, so it is allowing the connection, right? So let me just stop the attack. So to protect the resources, now let's uh, redesign our DOS protection rule. So what we can do here is action deny, you can have protect, and in the profile, let's define the objects. So connection rate 100, alarm rate, activate rate 100, maximum rate 400. Block duration is for, let's make it 120 seconds. Same for this 100, 100, 100, 120 seconds. Same for this 100, 100, 400. So that is the reason, whenever you are fine tuning these things, so you need to make sure that you're not underestimating the values, otherwise it will just, you know, block the legitimate traffic as well. So let's enable this rule and check it out whether we are still getting blocked. So right now I have stopped the attack. So there is no attack now. I mean, I have seen the production environment. In fact, here if you will start sending, attack from a high compute, this Linux server will go down if we don't have any strategy. So I have seen it. If your compute is able to send 1 CR packet per second, this Linux will break. Okay. So if you wanna kill any resource, you need to overflood it. So let's do one thing. Close this incognito. Meanwhile, this rule is getting applied again, and you can open up the new incognito window, and you can do the test if it is working or not. It is working now. So let's see. Almost done. So let me visit this website again. It is working. Check this out with Kali Linux, whether Kali is also able to open it up. So if you hit this IP address, HTTP, just go private here, new private window, and HTTP this particular IP address. So it is still opening, right? So once the IP address will be blocked, then you will see this web page will not come. Okay, so now let's initiate the attack. So let me minimize the browser. And from here, if you will do the attack, let's see the counters. So packets match the DOS policy. You can see here threshold allowed rate within threshold, right? So once your rate is going to exceed the threshold value, then it will drop. So rate limited or IP blocked, right? Due to aggregate rate limiting. And if now you will try to, you know, open up their particular website, it will not work because the IP has been blocked. So if I will try to visit this website, it will not work because this IP address has been blocked. And if I will try to open up this website, it will work. It should work for me and it will keep on working for me. And if I will go to monitor and threat, you will be able to see the threat logs, right? Threat ID and name, right? So you can see these are the latest logs. So latest logs we have received: source address, destination address, drop, 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 critical, critical, right? So this is the latest log we are receiving. And if you go to dashboard, you will be able to see the session count. This time session is not going high. In fact, here you will see that we are receiving very limited, filtered packet only. So you can see that we are receiving very limited packet only, right? Mostly reset, you know. So it is getting filtered because of this DOS policy. And if you go to monitor and if you go to, if you go to policies and if you go to DOS protection, you will be able to see the, you know, this hit counts, how much hit it has taken. If you do the calculation, it is like 18 lakhs. Okay. So how many packets we are sending, and if you check it out, what is the rate, packet rate, right? So you can see the packet rate, 15,000 packets per second we are sending, and all these packets are getting dropped. Still the IP has been blocked, so it is not affecting the resources, and the block is for 2 minutes. So let me stop the attack and let's see after 2 minutes whether this machine will be able to access that website again or not. So this is our mitigating strategy, and this is how you can protect the resources, right? Now, meanwhile, this IP will be restored from, I mean, it will be removed from the blocked cache. Let's go and check it out. Another option which is available in the DOS protection profile, that is classified, right? So you can add the profile, you can give it a name, DOS prod classified. So here you can, drill down the protection to a particular resource. So SynFlood random early we will go with 100 connections per second, 400, and block time will be 120. I'm not enabling these things, right? Resource protection, let's keep it this. Okay. And now inside your policy, you can make this change. You can configure this as classified, and you can apply both, or you can remove this and you can apply only classified, and then source IP, destination IP. So I just need to protect my destination IP only, right? So whatever destination IP you have configured here, that IP will be protected. And let's do the commit. And then you can also have option of source and destination. So accordingly, you can apply the rules, wherever you want to apply it. So the more granular rule you are going to create, the more CPU cycles you are going to save. This is the strategy of best practices. So meanwhile, this rule is getting deployed. Let's go back to our Kali and see if we are able to open up that website. So now you can see the block has been removed. So this is how it works, right? Why we are blocking it for a shorter period of time? Reason being that when we generate the attacks, we use IP spoofing, right? So when I'm placing that keyword random source, it is randomly generating the IP addresses, and it might be possible that that IP address may belongs to a legitimate user. So that user will also not able to open your resources. So that's the reason we cannot have it in permanent block, right? So this is how we configure the DOS policy. So let's wait for this commit to success and then we can do the testing again. And if you go to dashboard, so here you will be able to see your data plane CPU utilization, your session count, and if you go to your application command center and if you click on thread activity, so you will this time you will be able to see logs, and if you make it like last 6 hours, so you will get more data. So auto refresh and you will be able to see more data here. So generally it takes time because already a commit is in progress, right? And you're building the historic data. It takes time to, make the graph and all that stuff. So commit is almost 55%. So now you can see TCP flood, UDP flood, ICMP flood, the number of count, right? So all these details. So if you wanna build more historic report, you can just select last 24 hours and then you will be able to see URL filtering blocks as well, right? So wildfire activity by application, all these details. I mean, if any host is trying to visit any malicious domains, malicious URLs, right? So whatever user activities have been captured in last 24 hours, you will be able to see that here. Okay. And meanwhile, let me see if our commit is successfully completed. Then we can do the testing again. So it is almost done. And here you can see that attacks, URL filtering, right? Content activity, then file type, okay, URL domains, all these things. I mean, similarly, you can check it out wildfire if any sandboxing has happened and or not. So let's go back to our policy. Let's reset the hit counter and then we will start the attack again and we will see if it is still working, right? So you can see 21 lakhs hit counts we have received in such a shorter period of time. So let me remove the hit count and let's do the attack again. So we have started the flooding, and if you do check the counter, so you can see packet drop, IP blocked. So IP has been blocked. And if you refresh here, you will be able to see the hit counts, right? So this is how the granular control you can get. 34,000 hits we have seen. And in dashboard, you can see your utilization, session count, and all that. And on destination server, you can see how many packets are getting received by that server. So Wireshark is continuously on there, right? So we are not receiving so many packets. It is filtered, right? So if I will start the packet captures again, so you can see that we are sending this synac, retransmissions, duplicate packets, synac, right? So we are doing the retransmissions, and if you see the session count, so session count is very less because that IP has been blocked, right? If you now again try to visit that website from here, it will time out, right? This will time out. So let me just stop the attack because this machine is also getting, you know, hanged. So if you see, this will keep on looping and then it will time out. So IP has been blocked for 2 minutes. So this is how we create the mitigation strategies. And if you see here, the legitimate users will keep on accessing this website, right? So they will keep on accessing this website. Only the bad users will be filtered appropriately. And if you go to monitor threat, you will be able to see the logs, right? So flood from untrust to DMZ 00. This is the destination address. Now you can see that we have the classified rule. For aggregate, it was 000. It was not, taking note of the zones and all that stuff. When you have created the classified policy, now it is capturing all that stuff, that from where to where and destination is getting protected or not. Action is drop. Initially it was random drop, then drop. So once you hit the maximum threshold, you will be blocked. So Now let's refresh and see if we are able to access it. Yeah, it is working now because that block has been removed. So this is how we configure the DOS protection profile. Thanks for watching this video. Now in the next lecture, we will see high availability with active passive mode.